I thought I'd do something a little fun. Today is a Macross series tier list. So this is just a pre-made one that was on Tier Maker, and so I didn't name these things. It doesn't really matter to me. Die for you, love you, like you, you're alright, dislike you, hate you, and pineapple salad time or steak time. You could use steak too, but so let's go through all the different characters. Now, I don't remember every single character's name, okay? So, you're just gonna have to deal with that. I know who they are, I know where they're from, I know when they actually do anything, but I don't remember every single character's name. As much as I know about Macross, I don't know every character's name. So let's just go through the list. We have Aikun, we have Akiko, Alice, Aruto, Alad, Ariel, the woman from Zero, Barton, Basara, Belger Stone, one of the operator girls from, I believe she's from, no, she's not the Frontier girl. She's the, Delta girl, I think. Then Bobby, then there's Bobby here. There's two Bobbies in Macross. Borudoza, which is using the TV version. Bog, Brera, what's her face from Frontier, who's in the Monster. Catherine, Dr. Chiba, Chloe, Chuck, Claudia, Kondo, but we just usually in Japanese everybody just calls him Bromuko. Then what's his face from Macross 2, the war reporter. Yes, I know all this stuff about Macross and I can never remember this motherfucker's name. One of the guys from Emerald Force in Macross 7, I don't remember his name. It's not Docker. This is the co-pilot with Sheen in Zero. I always forget his stinking name. Iruma from Dynamite 7. We have Ranka's producer from Frontier. Emilia. What's his face from Delta? Johnson. Captain Johnson, whatever his name is. Ixidor, the TV version, which you should be using the movie version because that's what all those Zentradi designs are based off of, is the movie versions. So I'm not gonna complain too much. Everybody knows this is Exodor. Fef, Hanatama no Shoujo, Freya, Gabiru, Gamurin, Gerupinichi, Gigiru, Glovo, Goramu, whose voice actor is actually the same as Ichijo Hikaru from the first Macross, and so is Bobby too, by the way. They both share the same voice actors, Ichijo. Gurabiru, Grace, Graham, then the King of Windermere in the TV series before the war stuff starts. Garudo, Gubaba, Hosford, Hayate, the prince who becomes king in Windermere, the oldest of the pilots of the Kishidan, Hibiki. I always forget his name though. So we have Hibiki, Hikaru, the president of Frontier, Ings, Isamu, Ishtar, Iwanov from Zero, Michael's younger sister from Macross 7. She's a reporter. She's basically a tabloid reporter in that episode. I forget her name though. Rin Kai-fun, Kakizaki, Kaname, Keith, whatever this dude's name is. He's in the post-war stuff from the Macross TV series. Kim from Macross 7. Kim from the original Macross. Yes, there's two Kims. Kinryu, Krang, Raparamis. I forget his name, but he's from Dynamite 7. Then what's his face from Macross Frontier. Eruma's older sister. I always forget her name. Rori. from old Macross. Pretty sure this is Duca. It's a really bad picture. I don't know why they picked this picture. It's a crappy picture. Lucy, then the guy who takes over Grobaru in one of the episodes of the TV series. Makina, Mao, Marge, who's voiced by Hayami Sho, who's Max. Mashu, the gender bender from Macross 2. Max. Messer, Michael, Michelle, Miho, Mikumo, Miria, Milliard Johnson from Macross Plus. This is the girl from Macross Frontier. She's one of the operator girls. I don't know her name. Mime, Mirage, Misa, Hayase Misa. One of the operator girls from Delta, who their names are never really, put out there because, there's so many other characters in the series that, people forget about that. I do have that, that source book that gives you names of all these characters, but I'm not going to bother looking through it because it's not that important. This is a girl who likes the captain on the Macross quarter. She's one of the operator girls. Mylene, Myung. God, what was her name? I always forget her name too. I just watched, I was just doing my marathon, and I was watching Toki no Meikyu, and they say her name. I always forget it though. Nyx, operator girl, Nora from Zero, Nutuku from Zero, the guy with Kamujin on what is it? In the original Macross, he's not in the movie though. Ozma, Pedro, Fizika, Kiruru, Kashimu. And I remember Kashimu now because he dies in the TV series, but he's alive in the movie, and he's in the second movie, so... Because I kept forgetting his name, so I remembered it. Kamujin, one of the operator girls from Frontier, Danka, Ray, Dana, Rex, this dude from the TV series of Frontier, what's his face from Delta, Roy, Sally, Sara, Shami, Saranom, not Saranom, Sharon Apple, this is Saranom, Cheryl Nom, Shin, Sylvie, Shibiru, Misa's father, Hayase Teitoku, Tail, yes, so Tail and Zao, and the way you know it's Tail is that he has the bluer hair, Zao has the purple hair, and they're doing, his is on the right side and his is on the left side. They're twins, but Barugo, Vanessa, Bihira, Zodom, that's right, and then Britai, Wareda, Wendy, the captain of the Macross quarter. I just mentioned Zao, Yang, and Aruto's brother. Or, not, like, I don't think they're, like, blood brothers. I think they're brothers through being in the Kabuki stuff, but... Anyway, I just want to go through all the characters so you know who's there. I'm going to get the easy ones out of the way first. So, let's start with Max. He goes all the way up to the top. Let's get rid of Miria too. We're going to put her all the way at the top too, because those are my two favorite characters in Macross, period, end of story. We're not going to go too deep into that. They are the two coolest characters in Macross. And I'll fight you over it. Now, let's see. Let's do some ones on the bottom that I'm not a big fan of. So we get kind of a balance. I already put my two favorite characters, so let's put the characters I absolutely despise. Let's see. I don't like... So, Watakure, everybody has their own opinions of Watakure, so I'm going to go through. I'm not a big fan of Dana, so I'm going to put her here. I'm not a big fan of Makina either, but I like her more than Dana. just because of the fact that her great grandfather was Nakajima Raizo, who's in Macross Zero. He's the guy. He's one of the guys who worked on the VF Zero. So she actually has a little bit there. She's just from Planet Zola, which is from Dynamite 7. Whatever. Graham, I don't really care about. Let's see. Who else don't I care about? There's somebody I absolutely despise so much that I want them to have pine salad. Or a steak. Oh, that's right. Nanase, that was her name. Who deserves a steak? Who deserves death? Well, I forget which one of the brothers. He actually dies in the second Delta movie of these two, so you don't even have to put that there. I don't like Hayase's father very much, so I'll put him down here. I think Kashima is kind of an interesting character. I think that his backstory is interesting, and the fact that he was, he was just an apple farmer and had his family and all his other stuff, and he he applied to enlist in the Windermere military for when they're getting ready to fight their war, and then he he gets to be part of the Kishiran, the Kishiran, which is interesting because he's a commoner, right? And Windermere has a kind of a high, like a one of those those royalty structures. So I find him to be an interesting character. If you watch the TV series and you learn his backstory, it's quite interesting. So I think he's all right. Same with him as well. I do like the scene that he gets, the battle scene at the beginning of the second Delta movie that he gets after Kashim gets shot down. I really like his attitude and how he tries to fight off those SV303s, and he ends up getting shot down too, but I mean, just his attitude and his protection of Kashim is really interesting. That's why I consider them okay. They're not bad. Let's see. Aikun is actually kind of an important character. I don't have anything bad to say against Aikun, so I'll just put Aikun there. I like Akiko. She's an interesting character, being the producer of Firebomber and stuff. Alice Holiday. I'm not a big fan of her. Aruto, you can piss off. Alad. I don't like him all that much, but he can go here. I don't like her very much, but she does play a kind of important role in Roy, in his character development, so I'll just kind of put her there. I won't put her at the bottom. Bobby is okay. I like Basara. I'm not a huge fan of Basara, but I understand the depth of his character better than most people you'd find that talk about Macross 7. They tend to bash him quite a bit. I do like Basara. He's an interesting character. There's certain scenes within the show that he actually comes out and actually he has some really deep character moments within the series that I think, and it's not just the Anima Speedy show stuff, it's other stuff involved. That Hayate, you can fuck off. Fuck off, Hayate. Let's see, I haven't Belger Stone. I'm not a big fan of him. But he does do some interesting things with the storyline of Delta that actually greatly impacts the second movie, and things that he says in the TV series are actually very, very impactful to the events of that have connections to the second Delta movie. So I'm not gonna put him down here. I don't think he deserves to get shot down or anything, but, you know, I'm not a big fan of his. Kathy, I don't like Kathy. She's a boring character. Barton, she can die. I can't stand Barton. Claudia, I like Claudia. I think she's a really interesting character. I think she's much more interesting in the TV series over the movie, but that's just picking it. That's just nitpicking, but I still like her anyway. She's a decent character. Chloe, I love Chloe. Chloe's one of the coolest characters in a one-off episode of Macross 7. You know, Chloe's just great. And the connection to Miria's past is really good with her. I really like Chloe. Plus the fact her voice actress is Sailor Moon. Which most people probably don't know that, but her voice actress is Sailor Moon. So if you think Tsukini Kawate Oshokyo, that's her. Same voice actress. Brera, hate him. I can't stand Brera. I think he's a dumb character. Now, I'm going to qualify this. I like Emilia just because she's one of the daughters of Max and Maria, but I don't put her up here, like in a Love You or Would Die For You position, because I think the fact that she plays bass just like Mylene is, like, I just, no. Like, I think they could have done something different with her. She would have been better off in a different, because she's just like a second Mylene, basically, and I don't think that we needed a second Mylene. She's just a second Mylene who looks more like mommy than Mylene does, and who's, you know, went back to being a giant Zenradi. That's basically it. Nah, I'm not a big fan of her. Dr. Chiba, I couldn't care less about him. He's like a catalyst for a lot of stupid technology that comes up in Macross 7, but I'm not a big fan of him. Exodor, I love Exodor. I like him more in Macross 7 because his sarcasm is just great. I love his sarcasm. And his weird comments in Macross 7 make him such a cool character. I think they kind of weakened him by having him in Delta. I mean, but they had to put him with Max to make everybody happy. But, you know, I thought he wasn't as good in Delta that he was in like 7 or something. Let's see. Couldn't care less about any of the operator girls from Macross Frontier or Delta. They just don't do anything. Let's see. This Bobby, I can't. I'm not a big fan of Bobby. I like the connection that he is the voice actor for Ichijo Hikaru, and then the episode Minmay video he actually, you know, has to play Ichijo with Ichijo's voice is kind of funny. I think that was a really cool thing that they did with the character, but as a character of himself, he's not very, you know, interesting or anything. Geru Penichi, don't like her very much. Actually, Iwano Gyunter is the actual body of the character, who's a man that looks kind of feminine kind of thing, but Geru Penichi is a female. And what's interesting is that her voice actress is actually Inoue Haruka, who died of cancer some time ago, who also did Sailor Mast from the original Gundam. So just in case people didn't know that, that's where her voice comes from. It's very, very different voices, right? So Gabiru is kind of interesting. He's okay. I don't mind him. Gurabiru, can't stand him. Just another one of the Proto Devil that doesn't really mean anything. Same with the other two Proto Devil in here. They can both die off. I have no interest in either of them. The only one that's interesting is the yellow one, because that's Goramu. And the only reason he's interesting is because the voice actor is the same as him, who's the same as Ichijo Hikaru. Now, Ichijo Hikaru is okay. I don't like Aruto, I don't like Hayate. Just, I can't stand either of them. They're very one-dimensional, but you could say the same thing about Hikaru as well. The difference is that Hikaru does actually have some character development. where I don't think they really do much developing of anything. It doesn't feel natural anyway with these two. He has a more natural development. Even in the movie, I thought the development was kind of quick, but as a pro tag, I think Basara is probably the best out of the standard Macross, you could say, like the TV series stuff, not the OVA stuff. I don't care about Sheen's stupid co-pilot. He's stupid. He's just there for no reason. Freya, I like her. She's okay. She's nothing special. Let's see. Sharon Apple is an interesting character, but I'm not a big fan of her. Pedro is stupid. I hate Pedro. Especially the scene where Emilia is trying to kiss Basara and this little bastard jumps in her mouth. It just is such a stupid character. For Basara, it was interesting because it's showing Basara works well with kids and he likes kids and he knows how to deal with kids. You see this episode. You see this in one of the episodes in 7 TV series as well, where he's, working well with small children. But that's for Basara's character and not for Pedro. I think Pedro as a character himself is kind of stupid. They could have done something different with Pedro. Hosford, he doesn't get a lot of time in Zero. And I think that hurts his character. You have to excuse me, I need to get my tea. I think in general he's an interesting character, but he actually modifies her character and makes her look a little bit different because of his existence there. And he plays the he plays the baddie kind of well, but there's better bad guys in Macross, like Gabiru. I think Gabiru is a very interesting, proto-devlin out of all of them. I think he's probably the most interesting. Let's go to Barago. Barago is stupid. He does play an important role for boss setup at one point, but he's in there for so short. It's not anything special. And since we're talking about the proto-devil again, let's go to Gigiru. I don't like Gigiru very much. I like him more than Barago, but I don't like him that much. Him and Basara's relationship is really interesting, but beyond that, he's kind of a meh character. I don't care about the King of Windermere very much. I don't care about Heinz very much, but I won't put him that low. I'll put him up here. Just because he actually has a role to play in things, but he's very minor. Even in the second Delta movie, he's completely not even in the picture. Only in the very beginning when singing the Song of the Wind, basically. Can't care about her very much. Borg, I can't stand. Bordoza's a decent decent baddie. I think he's better in the movie with the movie design than the TV design. I think he's a little more. I think the TV series doesn't do him very much justice. I think the movie's better with him, with limited appearances. This fool is just a low rent. I don't like him either. Actually, I'll put him down here because I'm not a big fan of him. Chuck, I'm not a big fan of Chuck either. The fact that he's from Raguna is kind of interesting, and you get to see his family dynamics and things like that, and you get to see the family dynamics of Raguna through his character in the TV series. But beyond that, especially in the second Delta movie, he's such a minor player. It's not even really that important to talk about him. I love Hanatama no Shoujo. I think she's an interesting character. I think that it's a running gag throughout all of Macross 7. She's trying to give flowers to Basara, and she can never get there until the very end of Macross 7. I find that to that's kind of a nice payoff at the end for her, considering she appears in like every episode and says like nothing. Um, but her voice actor is the same as Shibiru, so we'll put that there. And speaking of Shibiru, I do like Shibiru. I think she's the best of the Proto Devlin characters. I think she's the deepest of the Proto Devlin characters. I think because of how she interacts with Basara and how she becomes a catalyst for, you know, the change of everything. I think she's a very good character. I like her more than Basara, actually, to be honest. She's a very interesting character to me. Erima's alright. She gets annoying at times, though. And this is part of the reason why getting Dynamite 7 in the United States officially is going to be hard, is because there's a scene at a hot spring with her and Basara naked, and she's only like, what, like 12, and they actually drew her nips. So, you know, that's going to, you know, cause some issues with censoring in the United States whenever they get around to releasing Dynamite 7, if they release Dynamite 7. Just putting that out there, right? But as a character, she's kind of annoying because she's just a small little girl. But I still like her more than like her sister or something. Her sister's like not even really an issue. I can't stand her sister. She's useless. Lin Kaifun, can't stand him. That whole, you know, I'm anti-war, blah 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 stuff is it gets old. And that's in the TV series. In the movie, he's better because he's like almost never there. So that's kind of nice. Luca, can't care about him. Can't be bothered to give two shits either way about Luca. The only interesting thing about him is his voice actor is the same who did Kyle Dunamis from Tales of Destiny 2. Isamu, he's okay. Marge, I actually think is okay too. Where did Garudo at, since we're doing all the Macross 2 characters? I'm not a Gald fan. I like the VF20. I like the YF21 as the VF22S that Max and Mario fly. But, I think Isamu is a better character. And I understand that you need all three with Isamu, Garudo, and Myung to have the full picture of their characters, but I think that also weakens them individually as well. I think Isamu is a very interesting character in comparison to Garudo. Let's see. Can't stand this fool. We get rid of him. Let's see. This character, couldn't care about him. He's basically a useless character, throwaway character from the later post-war era of the original Macross TV series. He doesn't even appear in the movie, so he's a useless character. Let's see. Amelia Johnson. He's okay. Nothing special about him. Just whatever. Krang Krang. I don't care about her. I like in the TV series how she's always switching between big and small, going between Zentradi size and Micron size, but she, like, if I was to limit it to the TV series, I would put her in alright. If I was to limit it to just the TV series, but I have to think about her role in the movies as well, and couldn't care less. Grace, not a big fan of Grace. She's just kind of there. Let's see, Mikumo. I like Mikumo. I think I'll put Mikumo up here because I like what the idea of Mikumo's character being a clone of the protoculture race and stuff like that. That her character arc is really good, and in Zettai they actually do her really good character development with her emotions and things like that. I found her character to be really good. Still not as good as Chloe. Sorry, Chloe's just amazing. Producer, go eat some salad. Or go eat some steak. Oh, this must be Docker. Docker's annoying. He's just so annoying. I can't stand him. Gomini is okay. Nothing special. I'm not a big fan of Gomini. I think he's an okay character. I don't think he's like, terrible in any way, but he's all right. Iwanov is all right too. I like that he's like the guy who actually taught Roy how to pilot, and where the Skull Squadron skull mark comes from, where they put this lore into Zero as well. Roy gets a lot of backstory created in Zero, which people completely forget about, is the backstory that he gets that has nothing to do with Claudia, right? So you learn a lot more about Roy through Iwanov, which is through DD. I do think he's a good character. And speaking of characters, where is she? Where's Nora? I love Nora. I think Nora is like one of the best characters in Macross Zero. Just because why she's fighting for the anti-unification forces that they show. I believe it's episode 4? I believe it's episode 4 of Zero, where they show her with the scars on her chest from what the unification government did to her. I think that her character is really, really amazing. I thought her death was really messed up, though. I thought she deserved a better death than what she got, but I do like Nora. Plus, it's Takayama Minami who does the voice, who is also the voice of Edogawa Conan, and also the singer for 2mix, and I've stated before, I'm a massive 2mix fan, so all these things combine into one thing, and I really, really like Nora. Now, let's see. Mash is okay. I think that Mash plays his / her / whatever it is, his role fine. Is kind of a little, just a tiny little catalyst in the story of Macross 2. Not great, not terrible, just kind of there. Let's see. Let's move along. So, don't need her. We can throw her away. We can throw her away too, because those are all just the operator girls. Could care less. Don't care about Aruto's brother. He could die too. Let's see, because there's just not enough character development for those characters. So, which is the problem with Delta and Frontier, is they have so many other characters going on, they don't get a chance to see the operator characters, which is why they're completely useless in the whole grand scheme of things. Her too. She's another one. Deserves her salad. Mirage. I'm gonna put her at like you. I don't think I think she fits into this category. I'm not a huge fan of Mirage. I mean, she's a granddaughter of Maximera, which makes, as a Genus fan, I'm happy. But, you never hear about her mother, Miranda, at all. You see her character development in the second Delta movie, which is pretty good. But, is that, like, in the TV series, she's probably the best character in the TV series. Flat out. Her and Miko are like the two best characters in the TV series. Other than that, the rest of the characters are blah. But, but I think that she's like the tier with Emilia, where I think I like her, but there could have been more. I do think that actually Mirage is better than Emilia in some ways, but, I can't justify her up here at all. Let's see, Sally. We're gonna put her up here. I love Sally, and since we're on that topic, we're gonna put Miho up here. I love Miho. She's one of my favorite operator characters in Macross, period. And speaking of operator characters that I love absolutely is Shami. I think that for Miho, like, of course, I like Sally too. Sally is an interesting character too. She's funny. And in the Macross 7 Plus little short that they did called 7 Bridge, The two of them are so cute with Max. It's so funny. I just love it. What they do in that little short. They're really cute in that, especially Sally. Sally's really funny. Tries to kiss Max, and then like all the girls are like being all jealous of her trying to give Max a kiss on the cheek, and then he's talking asleep, get back to work on the bridge, and they all run off. It's just great. Oh, and then the episode on stage between these two, oh my god, it's amazing. I do like Miho Miho more, just because, you know, I just find Miho Miho to be a more interesting character. Plus, don't forget that Miho Miho was also in VFX 2, the PlayStation game. She gets transferred away from the Macross 7 battle group and transferred to the situation in VFX 2, which I can't explain very well because I've never played the game all the way through. But Miho Miho's in VFX 2, which is a few years after the events of 7. So I get Miho Miho there too. So, you know, and I like Miho. And then Shami is probably the things that she says in the TV series are so funny. Like, I like, between her, Kim, and Vanessa, the three of them are so funny in the TV series. And I love her little line in the movie as well about where, I think it was Vanessa says, oh, you're just jealous that you can't, like, just keep getting new boyfriends all the time. And she says, and, like, nods yes. It was so funny. I like Shami so much. She'll never be Max or Miria level, but I do like Shami and I do like Miho Miho. I know I've been talking a lot about, like, characters that are alright and stuff, but I had to talk about some characters I really, really liked. Kakizaki, it depends. He's alright. I don't like his personality much in the TV series. I think he's better in the movie. And I like his death better in the movie because Miria killed him. I don't like his death in the TV series. It's kind of messed up. You feel sorry for him in the TV series. In the movie, you're just like, well, he wasn't paying attention and he got shot down by Miria, and then Max ends up marrying Miria. You know, I just find that you know, whole situation a little bit more interesting in the TV series. He's alright though. Global, I like him. He's a very good character. I like the speech that he gives during Max and Miria's wedding in the TV series. He doesn't do much in the movie, which is kind of sad. But I think that his role in the TV series is really good. I like how he is in the TV series a lot. So, let's get to Lucy, because Lucy's one of my favorite characters in Macross Plus. And especially because of the movie edition. The movie edition is absolutely great, and her character is much, like, her character gets so much extra development, and like in the couple extra little scenes that are given to her in the movie edition versus the OVA, just that alone makes her a much better character, which is, I really like her as a character in the movie. Plus as a series, meh. But I'm not a big fan of Plus, which you know now because I posted my Plus review. But I do like Lucy quite a bit. Nutuku's alright. He's kind of funny trying to sell stuff to people. That's all you can really say about him. But he's an interesting catalyst with Saranome about talking about when the story of the Mayan island, of how it, you know, about the bird person and the fish person, how they, you know, the background of the Tori no Hito and stuff. I thought that was really interesting. Shin, I actually like quite a bit. I'll put him up here. To me, out of all the main characters of Macross, like the main, you know, the focus is on this character. So like the Ichiju, the Aruto, the Hayate, the Isamu, Shin, Basara. Out of all of these characters, I think Shin is one of the best. And you look at his character development in just the short 5 episodes of Macross Zero, the level of character development he gets. the way that he starts to understand what Sada's trying to talk about with nature and all that stuff about the Kadun and everything. He has one of the best character arcs in Macross. And I think that more people need to watch Zero. I really think more people need to watch Zero. Zero is absolutely amazing. And after my marathon and, watching Zero again, it just reinforced my belief that Zero is one of the best series of Macross. It is so good. So, that's why Shin gets higher than Ichido. And this is to say, look at my character layout. Like, of course, my favorites are like, OG Macross 7. But you see a lot of, Zero or like Mikumo and Freya here for Delta. Of course, you don't see anything in Frontier because I don't care about any character Frontier. But, like Nanase, go away. But yeah, Sheen is amazing. This operator girl, she doesn't really do anything. It's just like she's kind of there. So, and she just like kind of like whenever Chiba needs to launch the sound booster, she just like stands up out of her seat and lets him sit down. It's like, oh, what are you doing there? Just that's it. Like Sally and Miho get all the attention. She doesn't get that much attention for as long as Macross 7 is. She gets very little attention versus these two. So, she probably would have been a more interesting character if they had her, in more situations, but they did that with these two, so. Gubaba. I like Gubaba. He's one of the cutest little characters in Macross. And due to me being outside at work all the time, if you listen to Gubaba's voice, and because I'm outdoors all the time, I listen to all the birds chirping and singing and stuff. And it turns out, I noticed this almost right away when I heard this particular bird. I don't even know what the bird was because it was in the tree and I don't see him. But there's a particular bird here in Japan that makes a particular singing noise that is what they use for Gubaba's voice. And I noticed this almost immediately, and every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, it's Gubaba. So, but I like Gubaba a lot. I think Gubaba is one of the cuter characters in Macross. Aikun is okay. I mean, Aikun plays a role in the development of the story between, like Ranka and the Bajira and stuff like that. So that's why I think he's a decent character. Whereas Kiruru couldn't care less. Kiruru is just a whatever character, mascot character for Delta. Just is there and doesn't do anything special. Aikun actually has impact on the story, especially in the second Delta movie, or second Frontier movie, sorry. And Gubaba is just like, he's always involved. So, and I like the little episode of the Macross 7 Plus short where it shows how Max found Gubaba and took him home. So, Gubaba actually has better character development than Kiryu. It's really funny. So, anyway. Let's do a couple... Well, let's start with Sloan here. He's okay. He's the catalyst for Hibiki changing his views on reporting and stuff like that. I think he's only in the first episode of Macross too, so, and then he dies. So, it's like he's not really that special of a character. He's a throwaway character, but he is a catalyst for Hibiki's change in personality, and his death actually impacts Hibiki quite a bit. So, I definitely think that he's one of the better characters in Macross. He's not great, he's not terrible. He's just there, but he does play his role, kind of like Aikun does. Let's see. Shirokishi, don't care. That's all I have to say about him. This bonehead from Dynamite 7, couldn't care about him. He's okay, but he's only in the episode for one episode, and that's it. This Taisa doesn't, do anything special. So, he's just kind of there. he doesn't, you know, he doesn't harm anything. He doesn't do anything bad. He doesn't do anything good either. If you want to put it that way, he's just kind of there. So, this Zentradi guy, don't care about him because he's just funding SMS because of his obsession with finding Minmay, which actually ends up relating to stuff in, you know, Zeta and Mega Round 1 and stuff, kind of. But he's nothing special. I didn't think of him as that great of a character. Mihail. Okay, I'm going to qualify this. I'm going to put him in the dislike you. Now, this is a very difficult position to put him in, because in the TV series, I think his death is absolutely amazing for Krang Krang. I think if it was the TV series Mihail and TV series Krang Krang, I think they both belong a little bit higher. But when you think about the movies and their role in the movies, how he stays alive and doesn't die, that just, no, sorry. Sorry, I don't like Michelle very much. Which is why I put him here. But in the TV series, because of the way that he dies, and it actually adds for more character development for Krang Krang, I like him more in the TV series, which I would put him in the alright section if it was the TV series. But as an overall, I think they both belong here. And I think Michelle belongs here too. The stupid president, don't care. Stupid girl, don't care. Mean May. Okay, I'm gonna qualify this. I like Mean May. I think Mean May is an interesting character. I think her character arc in the TV series is much better. If we take her character arc in the TV series, I think she's in the second row here. As an overall, I'll put her here. I don't... Her... I think that I like her songs because I like Ijima Mari's music. And I like some of Ijima Mari's solo music as well. There's a song called A Lonely Girl that's really, really good. There's some live video you can find of that, of her playing with her band, and also the members of Toto playing with her. Really good. Really, really good. And actually, Ijima Mari married and then later divorced the producer of Toto. And they had twin sons together. Now, just getting out of the way, so people know I'm not, like, hating on Mime or anything. I just think that the way that she develops in the TV series, and how she goes through all these troubles with Lin Kaifun and all this other stuff, and then she goes back to Hikaru, trying to, rekindle that with him, which is kind of represented a little bit in the movie. It's done in a little bit different way, and then Ichijo slaps her for being stupid, which I think was a really good scene for Ichijo in the movie. But Min May's definitely, I don't put her at the top, because there's another specific singer character in Macross that I think is better than Mimi. But I will put her here. But if it was just the TV series version, I'd put her at least here. At least here, she'd be in the second row if it was the TV series. But I have to think of the averages considering, between both character arcs in both situations. So that's why I average it out to here. Let's see. Wendy Ryder, she's alright. She's just kind of there. She's nothing special. And then the fact that, Macross 7 used a lot of Macross 2 music that takes place 45 years beforehand, it's just saying that Wendy's a propaganda piece idol for the military. So her standing kind of shrinks a little bit, but she was never really the main idol of Macross 2 anyway. So the fact she's here, I think most people would probably put her down here somewhere, because she's not really useful for anything. But the song that she sings, Ima wa Tomodachi, I think is a really, really good song. So I'll put her in alright. So I need to move along here. Kindyu Taicho. I like him. He's a good character, and his death is kind of heroic at the end. So I'll just put him there. That's all I'll say about him. Messer, die. Just die in a fire. Well, he did die in a fire. Well, actually, no, he died bleeding out in Kaname's arms. But I can't stand Messer. Just screw this character and everything he stands for. And screw his fucking voice actor, too. I can't stand Messer whatsoever. In any way whatsoever. He can piss off. Roy. Since we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. If you combine his character arc between the original Macross and Macross Zero, I think he's here. Because the character arc he gets in Zero is absolutely amazing. And it kind of makes you understand why he is the way he is in the original Macross. In the TV series or the movie. And they actually had him repeat the line that he said in the original Macross in Zero, where, how can I fight a war if I'm scared of booze? Kind of thing. That's just a rough translation off the top of my head. But they actually use that line in Macross Zero as well, which is really cool. So he's been, doing that for a while. I think he's one of the better characters in Macross. It's too bad his character arc is so short, but I think that's why with Zero they put a lot of focus on him, because I think Kawamori knew that people really liked Roy, and having it during the Unification War kind of gave Kawamori the opportunity to push Roy's character more and to have him have more of a impact. And so, Zero really does a lot of good for Roy's character. I really like Roy and overall because of that. Ozma, piss off. Myung, couldn't care less about her. She's, former high school idol, best friends with Gald and Isamu's girlfriend, and then is assaulted by Gald. And then it causes Isamu to run off. I don't know. I think Myung is kind of a weak character. I think, Sharon is actually what, makes Myung worth anything in Macross Plus. So without Sharon, Myung is a completely boring character, and without Myung, Sharon is can't have Sharon. So, they're kind of eh. Ranka, eh. I don't like Ranka very much. Cheryl, I'll put her a little bit higher. I'm not a fan of Cheryl Gnome either, but I will say this, playing Macross 30, when she first meets Sarah Gnome, the PlayStation 3 game Macross 30, when she first meets Sarah Gnome, and she's like, "Oh, Grandma!" It's so funny, their interaction. But that's not within the series. That's only within a specific game. Yes, the game is canon to this timeline and stuff like that, but I'm not a big fan of Cheryl or Nanka, either of them, really. Let's do Vanessa and Kim. Well, Britai. If I'm not gonna give Cheryl the credit in her interaction with Sarah Gnome in Macross 30, I can't do the same thing for Britai with Macross 2036. The interactions he has with Comelia Maria, the eldest daughter of Maximira, who appears in the original TV series, the interactions with her are so funny. But I can't. If I'm not gonna give credit to Cheryl's character doing stuff in 30, I can't do that for Britai either. I think Britai is a very interesting character. He's a very observational character. Him and Exodore together are actually they're a very interesting combination. And Britai's character arc is really, really nice on the TV series. Although it's sad he doesn't get more after that episode, Biwa Maria, yeah, I think Britai is a pretty good character overall. Kaname, she's alright. The scene in the second Delta movie where she what is it? The scene in the second Delta movie where she what is it? Dana shows off her picture from the rodeo thing that she did, and her top flies off. Is pretty funny. But other than that, Kanai is kind of character. And this is the problem with Deltas. They got so many characters that they have to do tons of character arcs with, and even within a 26 episode TV series, they don't get enough. And this is why, like, the only reason Mikumo's up here and even Freya is right here. Freya is only good here because of the second Delta movie. Mikumo and Mirage are like the two best characters in Macross Delta, in my opinion. But Freya gets better because of the second Delta movie, whereas Mikumo stays the same, but she was already a good character anyway. So, that's how I consider them. But when you think about the other characters of Water Cutie, it's like, well, just because Dana's from Zola doesn't mean anything, because the Macross Dynamite 7 is kind of a mess series anyway. And that has nothing to do with the space whales, okay? It just has to do with, the overall story of Dynamite 7 is kind of meh. It needed to be a little bit longer, I think. It needed to be like 6 or 7 episodes, at least as long as Macross 2. It needed that, otherwise it just didn't. And it ends with that open-ended ending like we get with the Macross Frontier stuff, which we got a completely closed ending at the end of Macross Delta, the second movie. But if you look at the Frontier, it's, open ending. Macross 7 is open ending. There's no, set, this is the end kind of thing. You can feel like there's going to be more coming out of it. So, that's why I can't, I can't stand Dynamite 7. When I was doing my marathon and got to Dynamite 7, I'm like, finally I can watch Macross Frontier. And I don't like Frontier that much. So that should tell you, the TV series of 7 is long and rough, but the Dynamite 7 is kind of eh. Fijika. Now, people are going to be surprised that I'm going to say this. I put him here. Why? He's in Diamond Force for a very short time, and then he dies. Well, the 2-episode arc where he dies are two of the best episodes of Macross 7, period. What happens between his death and what happens after his death, and what Gomini finds out about his wife was actually cheating on him with another man and actually had the baby with another man, even though she was married to Fizika. It was just, he's a very tragic character. And I really I feel really bad for him. But I think that because of his role in 2 of the best episodes of Macross 7, he can't be lower than this. He's such a, the arc involving him and his backstory is just amazing. Even though it's so short, it's only a couple episodes, but Fijika's a very good character. I like him quite a bit. Rapuramizu, like her. TV series, she's much better. In movies, she just kind of the commander, then she gets blown away by Borodoza, and that's basically it. She doesn't really do anything in the movies, so can't really say anything. But in terms of her role in the TV series, I like her quite a bit. Especially the post-war stuff with Kamajin is really good. Kamajin too, he's one of my favorite villains in Macross. Just the pre-war stuff, he's kind of annoying. He's like the vanilla villain of the week who gets thwarted at every chance he gets. But the post-war stuff, the stuff he has with Rapuramizu and the way his attitude is so good in the post-war stuff. He got some of the best character development in the post-war stuff. Him and Mimi, I think, are the 2 best characters in the post-war part of the TV series. So, Rex. Oh, I like Rex. Rex is cool. I like Rex. She's an interesting character. She acts all tough, but she's really a woman. She really likes Basara, but she can't bring herself to talk about it, and and can't bring herself to actually be be feminine in any way. So she's really interesting character. I like her quite a bit. Then let's do the 3 I'm gonna put them as a set. So Bromuko, Rori, where's it? Oh, Warera. So these three are a set, and I put them under Like You, because in the movie they do basically nothing. They're completely useless in the movies. They don't really do anything special. In the TV series, they're actually really, really good characters, and the fact that they stick to their guns and they you know they accept culture and they work hard, like cleaning shop, and at a lot like a place for to do like dry cleaning, and then they also they get fired from that job, so they try to sell toys to kids for Christmas. They they are very, very interesting characters in the TV series. I really, really like them in the TV series, but because of averaging out what happens in the movie, where they do absolutely diddly squat, it's that's why I average them out to about here. Teo and Zao, yeah, they're twins. I'm put them together. Believe it's Zao that dies, and they get shot down by the SV-303 at the beginning of the Delta movie. But I always forget which one's which. Oh yeah. This is Teo. This is Zao. I believe it's Zao that gets shot down and blown up. And Teo gets shot down too, but he lives. You see it at the end of the movie. Now Vanessa Kim. So Vanessa and Kim. Let's move Kim up here. Got to put them together. I like Shami more, but they're all part of a set that goes together, kind of thing. And they're so funny in the TV series. They don't get enough screen time in the movie, I think, but there's limited time in the movie for anything. So, but I like them in the TV series as well. But Shami's number one. Let's see. This girl, couldn't care about her. Michael, he's alright as a character. He's just like kind of trying to babysit Mylene for Miria, because Miria's, doing her stuff with being mayor and stuff. It's, And then the episode of Miria, the president of Macross 7 Plus, where he's in there, it's really funny. There's one particular scene where in the TV series where Miria's like saying, "Oh, it feels so good," and you can see like the clothes on the sofa or whatever, and you think that Miria is cheating on Max or something, and it's just that Michael's massaging her. Is really funny. Like just regular massage, right? It's just he's a catalyst for a lot of funny stuff, but he's also kind of a useless character too, because just watching Mylene scold him the way that Miria does is absolutely hilarious. Especially in the episode Dochi ga Suki, which is one of the encore episodes, where Mylene tells him to watch Miria to make sure she doesn't get close to Basara, to talk about marrying Basara and all that stuff. And then after he fails at doing that, she scolds him exactly the way Miria does. Oh, it's so funny. But that's from Mylene. And I think Mylene goes up here. Mylene is one of the best Genus characters, besides, Max and Miria. I really like Mylene. She goes through a lot of stuff, especially Dynamite 7. There's a particular situation he goes through there. Getting slipped some drugs for a woman to try to have her way with her. It's really funny. It's not really funny, but it's like, it's showing how naive she is even at like 14, 15, 16 years old. So, that her, like, just everything on Mylene is just so good. Young is, he's alright. couldn't care less about him. Young is, you know, the guy who designed the YF-19 for Macross Plus. He's whatever. This guy, couldn't care about him. He's always with Kamajing. He, in the post-war, he's, you know, he gets like weak-legged and stuff like that. He's not as, you know, tough as Kamajing is still. I don't care for him that much. Lloyd, couldn't care less about him. He's a catalyst for learning about protoculture stuff on Windermere, but beyond that, he serves no real purpose. Ray, I like Ray. He's a good character. He, you know, his backstory is really interesting. His, you know, history as Akiko is really interesting. You know, he's a decent character. Behida, people are gonna think of me weird for putting her here, but Behida has one of the most interesting characters in Macross 7 because she never talks, but when she does, it's usually something important, and she's trying to tell Mylene something because she has no choice. And it's always to Mylene. She never talks to Bossada, she never talks to Ray. The only time she ever opens her mouth for anything is to Mylene. So, you know, there's something there that I guess was written specifically for that purpose. I'm not sure. But I think Behida is one of the more interesting characters because when she's mute for basically the entire show, outside of a few tiny little occasions. And those tiny little occasions are very impactful things for Mylene and really help her characters. So, you know, I think I like Behida more than Ray actually because of that. Hayase, I gotta put Hayase up here. Hayase is such a good character. I really like Hayase. That's all I need to say about her. Nyx is alright. Like, I couldn't really care about him very much. And this is one of those rare occasions in Macross 2 where, you know, there's a character I'm not a big fan of. Which is quite rare. Because there's so few characters in Macross 2. It's such a short little OVA that there isn't much there. But, you know, like Wendy and, you know, homeboy here, Sloan, and Nyx are just kind of there. Nyx isn't that special to me. Now Sylvie, we gotta put Sylvie up here, just because it's Sylvie. And yes, there's mostly girls. Don't worry, there's gonna be some guys coming up here in a minute. With what's left, there'll be some guys here. I find Sylvie to be a very interesting character. She's only 17. Actually, the same age as Max. If you think of the Do You Remember Love? Do You Remember Love? Max was 17. Originally she was written, they wanted her to be the granddaughter of Maximiria, but they, due to, I believe Big West might have asked Kawamori to use some of the character names, and they, and he said flat out no, which is why her name became Sylvie Gina and not Sylvie Genus. In the novelization of Macross 2, which I've read 3 of the books, I need to finish the other 2. But it actually mentions her and Nyx are both like related to Maximiria. So yeah, that's kind of that. That's there. Which is why the name Sylvie Gina was given to her. Instead of genus, they just cut out the S part of it, and so the original plan was to make her granddaughter of Maximiria. And now we have Mirage for that. I think Sylvie's a better character than Mirage, but no, whatever. Michael's sister, who cares? Now we're going to get to the difficult ones. Alright, Ings. Ings is okay. He's an interesting bad guy because he's kind of a dictator over the Marduk, which is quite different than Borodoza, where it's a military structure versus like an actual, you know, like dictator level kind of person, which kind of makes him better than Borodoza in a lot of ways. So he's kind of original, but, you know, he's not, you know, like, he doesn't appear until, what, episode 4? What, Marduk Disorder is when you first hear his voice. Of course, his voice actor is extremely famous, but, which is with a lot of the voice actors from Macross 2. And we wouldn't have Basara with his voice actor without Macross 2, because the voice actor, Hayashi Nobitoshi, was actually doing a lot of the minor characters in the background for Macross 2. Then they used him for Basara and Macross 7, so let's keep that in mind. But I don't, like, he's just kind of there. Now, we'll get to Fef, because I actually like Fef quite a bit. There could have been more done with him. Even Tomita, the guy who wrote the series out and everything, he said he wanted to have one more episode that went deeper into the relationship between him and Ishtar. But I think Fef is one of the coolest characters in Macross 2, and he's probably the best antagonist in Macross 2. I just wish that he had like a legit fighting scene and not just, you know, him shooting at Sylvie trying to run away. Because I think he would have been a really cool ace pilot character. He was a really interesting character. So, and in the card game that's been, you know, discontinued for a long time now, Macross Crusade, Fifth's character is actually really, really good. The character card that for him, his effect is actually quite good. So they actually didn't, you know, cheapen him out. And anyway, he's a good character, and I like him a lot too. All right, now of course, here we go. Hibiki has to be up here. Just, you know, and just to clarify, I'm gonna put all of them up at the top because I like all of these characters a lot. And I'm going to go through all of them. So, let's start with Hibiki, the only protagonist in Macross who is not a military pilot. He's a reporter. He has one of the best character arcs in Macross, period. I think him and Sheen are probably the two best written protagonists in Macross. Like, actual lead characters, not, you know, like secondary characters. So Max and Miri are always secondary characters, they're never main characters in anything. They play a very vital role in Macross 7, so they are kind of in the forefront, but in the original Macross, they're minor characters. In Macross Delta Zeta, Max is a catalyst for certain events, but he's not like a main character. So they're typically in the background. Sheen and Hibiki are the two best main lead characters in Macross, in my opinion. Hibiki going from a scandal reporter just to like be, you know, just to catch scandals and to be popular and to get eyes on his reports and stuff, and then goes from that to, you know, really like seeing Ishtar and spending all that time with Ishtar, and, you know, coming to grips with the fact that he's able to do something more and he can actually be a help to somebody, to where he starts caring about other people and not just his own little career and stuff like that. Which leads to him, you know, him and Sylvie's little time together too. And how, just like everything about him, you go from episode 1 of Macross 2 to episode 6, and his character is so different. He grows in such a big way in Macross 2. I think that's why I say him and Sheen are the two best protagonists in Macross. They're best lead characters in Macross. They develop the most throughout their time. Ishtar is the best, like idol, utahime, whatever you want to say, because she's very pure. Like when you think about, you know, the modern ones, you know, Makina's just the big boob girl, and Reina's like the little quiet computer nerd kind of thing. Freya's, you know, the girl from the backwater planet that's, you know, still, you know, using an old calendar and all this other stuff, you know. But they're not actually like pure characters. They've had events in their lives that, keep them from some, like, changes. Like, Freya's village was attacked during the war in 2060, and her father died there, and then her mother, I think it was her mother died in the war, and then her father died shortly after that, or something like that. I always forget. But when you look at Ishtar, anything she sees something new, she's like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? And she's always got a smile on her face, and you can always tell her emotions very, very clearly. Like, she's very, very pure. And I think she's one of the most original of the singing characters in Macross. Like, Mylene is in that way kind of similar, but that's because Mylene is younger. Ishtar is just, it's just her natural personality to be curious. Because she's also older than Mylene too. But I think Ishtar is the best out of all the Utahime and Macross. Then we got Mao and Sarano, which I'm gonna explain them in the at the same time, because they are sisters and they're both in Zero and they both play very major roles. Mao being like 13 or something, and Sara being like older than that. I don't remember how old Sara is supposed to be, but the way they develop their characters throughout the entire series, like Mao just ignores the whole Kadun and practicing her chanting and her stuff for and memorizing the stories of the Torino Stone stuff. She goes from just a girl who wants to go off the island, and she's curious and everything outside, and in TV and all this other stuff, and like soft drinks and whatever. She goes from that to, at the end, being just like her sister. And then that leads into what happens throughout, all the years up until Macross Frontier and the attack on Gallia 4 and all this other stuff. Mao is one of the best characters in Macross, I think. And ignore the Frontier stuff. Just look at how she is in Zero. I think she's one of the coolest characters in Zero. She develops and grows up very quickly in Zero. Sara, on the other hand, has a very rough edge to her, and then finally Sheen managed to break through that with her, and she becomes more open with Sheen, and they develop their relationship, even though who knows what happened to them, because they both disappeared. Which is probably part of the reason why Mega Road 1 is damaged in Delta Zeta Raibu, but nobody knows. There's just a rumor that possibly they met Sara and Sheen in that fold space, and they, ran into that, and that's what happened. Nobody knows. But anyway, Sara is one of the best characters in Macross. So, yeah, this is my list of, characters in Macross, how I rank them. You can see a lot of characters are female here, but there's a lot of female characters in Macross, much more than male characters. And, I had to get it out of the way. Max and Mira are the two best characters, period, end of story. Just forget everything else. But, I think that it all depends on how the character's written. Like you see all my characters, Fef is very well written for what little he has. Roy is a really good character. Sheen is a great character. Exidor is a really good character, especially with 7. Fijika is only around for a few episodes in 7, but he's really good. Kamajin is really good in the TV series. It's just that most of the characters are just kind of, there for most, like, from this tier list, right? They're just kind of there. And I'm not in... You can see that what I like in Macross, you can see I have it is kind of focused on the older stuff, but there is, like, characters like Mikumo that I really like from the newer stuff. Or, like, people will probably ignore Sheen, Mao, and Sara because it's, Macross 0. And I think they're 3 of the best characters in Macross. So, there is kind of a thing here with that, so. But I just wanted to do a fun little tier list so you can look it over and see, so you can see where the characters I hate are, this girl from Frontier, Messer, this girl from Frontier, President, Nanase, I could care less about. This girl, Aruto's brother. So you can see where I place all them. I don't like Hayase's father very much. I don't like Barton either. These two characters are really one-dimensional, like military guy characters. They're kind of meh, but no, you can see I don't. There are characters in series that you would think that I would, because of the way I've described all these series, how I like them. I should like them more because of how I like the series. But nope, Lin Kaifun, I hate him. Or these two, all these Proto Devlin down here, I can't stand because they're completely useless. So you can see I don't exclusively pick out Frontier, just that most of those characters in Frontier and Delta suck. They're written poorly, and the older stuff, they're written better. So anyway, that's my tier list for characters in Macross. I'm thinking about doing a song one for Macross 2. Macross as well. I mean, not Macross 2 only, right? And I want to redo my my Macross series tier list because I think that my opinions of Zero have started to change, and also my view of the second Delta movies kind of changed a little bit through watching it so many times, and then going back and watching all the old stuff again. It's kind of changed my viewpoints on certain things. So I'll probably do that at some point soon too. So, but I just wanted to do a little character tier list so people know which characters I think are really well written. So when everybody has a chance to watch the series or rewatch them for whatever reason, you can pay attention to these characters. Well, why did he say that he liked these characters? You'll pay close attention to them and you'll understand. So anyway, I just read this right now. More cares than anyone is asked for. Have fun, go nuts. Remember that the validity of your list is determined how low you place Kaifun. But because he doesn't do anything bad in the TV series or in the movie, he's just kind of there. That I have to balance these things out because you have two versions of a lot of the characters, like Michelle and Kuran and stuff like that. So you have to kind of balance it out and be honest with both sides. And anyway, that'll be all for this video, and I will see you in the next one whenever I do the next one.